subscribers sent me a DM on Instagram saying that she wants to see how I measure myself. So today I'm gonna be getting into the tea of how to measure yourself, because you are gonna have to know your measurements when you're online shopping, when you're making a pattern for yourself, or when you're making clothes for yourself. And you won't always have someone around to measure you. We're gonna get into everything from your neck all the way down to your foot, your waist circumference, bust circumference, all of those things. So grab your tape measures and grab a snack and let's learn something. So we're going to start by taking upper body measurements. Of course, you're gonna need a paper and a pen or whatever gadget that you want to use in order to record these measurements. But I do recommend having a set place that you store these measurements so that whenever you need them, you can always refer back to them. I'm gonna have a PDF attached down below that you can download, print, and take your own measurements. If you are new here, I'm Gabby and this is So Quaint. On this channel, every week I teach creative people like you something new. If you're not subscribed yet, you are missing out. We're gonna start with the neck measurement. This is gonna be good for when you are making like a choker, or if you need to have a collar made, or if you're working on something that's gonna fit around your neck. So in order to take your neck measurement, if you have hair, you're gonna sweep it out of the way. You're gonna take your tape measure and put it around your neck like this. Once you get here, you're gonna just put the tape measure on your skin like this, and then just bring the tape to meet with the end. So what's good to do is to actually have a mirror in front of you so you can look and see what the measurement actually is. So in a case like this, I have to look into a mirror to see what the measurement is. I'm actually gonna be using this mirror, but I'm gonna put it over there. The next measurement is your shoulder measurement. So you're gonna measure from one shoulder to the next. Again, it's really important to have a mirror in front of you. So you're gonna measure from the tip of your shoulder here, going over to the next side. Make sure that you aren't scrunching forward or backwards. Make sure that your shoulders are squared. The next measurement that you want to take is your individual shoulders. That's going to be from the base of your neck right here going over to the end of your shoulder. The next measurement is your across chest measurement. That is from one armpit to the next. Find your armpit crease right there. Put your tape measure, and then bring it over to your next armpit crease. We're gonna do the same thing for your across back measurements. So in this case, you take the tape measure and you put one side of this armpit crease and bring the next side over here. You can actually just use your armpit to hold that into place, and then you just bring the next side over here. Your across back and your across chest will likely be the same thing at times, but it's also possible for your across back to be just about an inch more than your across chest. The next measurement is your bust circumference. This measurement is taken around the widest part of your bust. If you have big boobs, then you want to wear a bra while you're taking this measurement. Take your tape measure and put it around your bust like this. This is around the widest parts of your bust. If you are a man, then this would be considered your chest. You also never want to hold your tape measure too tight unless what you're measuring for is something that you want to be skin tight. It's good to measure yourself with a little bit of ease. So my finger is currently behind the tape measure, and that gives it a little space and ease. In this case, then I know that I'll be able to breathe in whatever I make with this bust measurement. Record that measurement. Then you're gonna record your above bust circumference. As the name suggests, you're measuring above your bust. Then you're gonna measure your below bust. Below bust, as the name suggests as well, is below your bust. And this is gonna come in handy if you wanna make a top that's gonna fit you here, a bralette. If you wanna make a strap that's gonna fit for a bikini, to have a measurement for up here would come in handy for all sorts of things, for dresses, tops, bikinis that fit at that area. Those are important measurements for you to have. So the next measurement is shoulder circumference. This is where you measure around your shoulder, and this is gonna come in handy for off the shoulder kind of dresses and blouses and other things that you might want to wear that will require a snug fit around your shoulders. So you're pretty much going to take the tape measure and put it around the circumference of your shoulders. I made sure not to catch my hair in the tape measure because that would give me a bigger measurement. You pretty much just hold on to the tape measure and measure your circumference right here and look to see what that measurement is, or you could just look into the mirror that's ahead of you in order to know what the measurement is. Next measurement is shoulder to across chest. This is where you measure from the tip of your shoulder, or at least from your shoulder here to wherever your across chest falls, and you do the same thing at the back. This is where we're measuring from the front of the shoulder, and you measure down to your across chest. Wherever your armpit crease is, that's the measurement that you're going to take. Do the same thing at the back. So you're going to put the tape measure right there where you left off with the front, and just look in the mirror to see where your armpit crease lines up with on the tape measure, and you would take that measurement. Shoulder to nipple, you're going to measure from the tip of your shoulder again down to wherever your nipple falls. Like I said, if you do have big boobs, you want to measure while you're wearing a bra. If you're going to be making something that will be worn with a bra, then you want to take your measurements while you're wearing a bra. But if you're going to make something where you won't be wearing a bra, then you want to take your measurements when you're not taking a bra. And then you're going to measure from your shoulder to your natural waistline. And your natural waist is the smallest part of your waist. This will come in handy when you are making a blouse or a blazer or a bodysuit. Nipple to nipple measurement. You're going to be measuring from one nipple to the next. So you put the tip of the tape measure on your nipple and then measure over to the other nipple. The side seam length. So you'd hold your tape measure where your armpit crease is, right where you suspect that your armhole would start if you're wearing a blouse, and you'd measure down to where your natural waistline is once more. We are now going to take sleeve measurements. Sleeve measurements come in handy regardless of the length of sleeve that you're going to be making. This is perfect for blazers, jackets, swimsuits, blouses, you name it. Anything that involves your arms. In order to do this, you are first going to measure around your actual arm right there. So you could call that your arm socket or your shoulder socket, but this is where your sleeve fits. So you want to get the right fit for that. What I like to do is to bring the tape measure down enough so I have some space right here. Then I'll bring it around and in front of me where I can see it on my shoulder. And I'd measure and record wherever the other part of the tape measure falls on the beginning there. And when you are taking this measurement, you never want to take it closely because a tight sleeve is not fun. So you want to make sure that you have a little bit of space right here to take this measurement. The next measurement you want to take is your cap height. You measure that from the tip of your shoulder where your sleeve would sit down to where your armpit crease is. So your armpit crease would be in line with this area right here. So you just put the tape measure and measure down to where your armpit crease starts. If you want, you can just use this same hand to hold on to the tape measure and then just put your finger right here to see where the armpit crease falls, and you can take that measurement. Next thing you're going to measure is your bicep circumference. That's around this area. You take your tape measure again, put it around your bicep, and I like to leave a little hanging room right there so I can then bring it around on the top of my shoulder, or at least to the side right there, and measure. You also don't want to measure this too tight. You want to measure from your shoulder here to where your bicep falls. bam. And you pretty much just be looking at the mirror to find out all these measurements. So you let your tape measure sit on your shoulder right here. This is where your sleeve would begin. And you just look into the mirror and get all the measurements. So you'd first stop here for your bicep. Then you'd go all the way down here for your elbow. Then you would go all the way down here for your forearm. If you want to make something with a long sleeve, you'd measure all the way down to your forearm. And then you'll measure all of those areas that you stopped at. So you'd measure your bicep, and then you'd measure your elbow. You can measure both when it's flexed and when it's not flexed. So this is when it's straight, and again, I like to leave the tape measure hanging here so I can then bring it around and see what measurement is there. And also while it's flexed, you realize that your tape measure actually spreads out when you actually bend your elbow like this. So you can take that measurement as well. And most times when you're making a sleeve, you do want to make it with the width that takes into consideration when your elbow is bent, because if you only make it wide enough to facilitate a straight elbow, when you go like this, you're gonna be in pain. And it's nothing worse than having clothes that's too tight on you, or having sleeves that are literally killing your elbow and your arms with pressure. Next measurement to take is your forearm. So you leave a little extra space and then bring the rest of the tape measure around to see what that is. You're gonna do the same thing with your hand, and this is gonna come in handy for when you're making shirts that you need to push your hand through. If you only make it the width of right here and it doesn't have a button for it to open, or it's not stretch fabric, your hands will not be able to get through, and that would be a tragedy. You're gonna hold your hand like this. Put your tape measure around it with a considerable amount left over here, and just bring the excess right there so you can see what the measurement is. Now we're gonna take some lower body measurements, and these are gonna come in handy when you are creating shorts, skirts, dresses, anything of the sort that needs to fit your lower body. So we're gonna start off first and foremost with your waist circumference. Your waist circumference is around the natural waistline, which is the smallest part of your waist. That should be wherever the dip in your back is. And you can also measure your lower waist, which is where you probably wear like hipsters jeans. Then you would measure your hip circumference. This is around the widest part of your hips. If your hips are all the way down here, then you can measure down there, of course. So you'd measure like that. You also want to measure around your knees. So you would stand with your feet hip width apart or with your feet together, and you would just measure around your knees, but this is for the purpose of making skirts that would have a pencil fit. Also measure around your thigh. This is going to come in handy if you are making leggings. If you want to take it a step further, you can measure around your calf. You also want to measure around your knee while it is straight and while it is completely bent like this. We are almost through with all the measurements. We just have a few more left to go. If you have been finding this video helpful and you've watched all the way to this point, I want you to comment down below. I am so excited to measure myself, or I am so excited to start making my own clothes. I'm so proud of you for starting this journey for yourself. It's gonna be absolutely fun. You're gonna measure from your waist down to your hip. So that's your waist to hip measurement. Then you measure from your waist to your knee. Then you measure from your waist to your ankle. And this will be much easier to do when you are using a mirror. That's why it's important to have a mirror in front of you. If you want to make yourself a skirt that's actually going to sweep the floor, then you want to look and see how long you would need to make that. So currently I'm seeing about 44 that goes all the way to the ground. But if I wanted to make something super long, maybe I could make it like about 50 inches long. Now you're going to measure from your waist down to your crotch. So So you'd hold the tape measure at your natural waistline and bring it down to your crotch right there. So that would be in line with this area. If you're a man, your crotch depth is going to be more than a woman's. So you want to measure from your waist to your crotch, that's considered your crotch depth. And you want to measure your crotch circumference. So you're going to keep the tape measure right here, trail it underneath you, collect it around there, and bring the tape measure behind you like this. So it's pretty much like a thong kind of vibe, but this is good to know whenever you want to make sure that your shorts or pants is going to fit you properly. There it is. You have all the measurements that you need now to make yourself any garment. If there's anything that you think I missed, comment that down below. Give this video a like, share it with a friend, and watch this playlist next for sewing tutorials from So Quaint.